What's up, sports fans, and welcome back to the channel. If you think the sports world is wild now, just wait until 2025. We're on the brink of a massive shakeup in how we watch our favorite games. And today, we're diving deep into the 5 huge questions that will define the future of sports media. Trust me, you'll want to stick around for this. First up, let's talk about the big one, the NBA. Their media rights are up for grabs in 2025. And it's shaping up to be an absolute blockbuster. We're talking about a deal that could be worth a staggering $75 billion. Incumbents like Disney's ESPN and Warner Bros. Discovery's TNT are in the mix, of course. But the real game changer? The tech giants. Amazon is already a player with Thursday Night Football. And now Apple, fresh off their MLS success, and even Netflix, are circling. Imagine watching LeBron James or Steph Curry on Netflix alongside your favorite series. It sounds crazy, but it's a real possibility. The NBA is looking for a mix of traditional broadcast reach and digital innovation. This could mean we see a split package, with games spread across a legacy network, a digital-first platform like Amazon Prime Video, and even a direct-to-consumer streaming service. The league wants to cater to everyone, from the casual fan-flipping channels to the die-hard cord cutter. Who will win this bidding war? It's the biggest story to watch, and the outcome will send shockwaves through the entire industry. Next on our list is the future of sports journalism itself. Specifically, what happens to ESPN? We all know ESPN as the worldwide leader in sports, but they're facing some serious headwinds. Cord cutting is hitting them hard, and Disney is under pressure to figure out ESPN's next move. They've launched their own streaming service, ESPN+, but the big question is whether they'll go all in and make the main ESPN channels available direct to consumer. This would be a monumental shift. It would mean you could subscribe to ESPN directly, just like you do with Netflix. But it's a risky bet. It could accelerate the decline of the traditional cable bundle, which is still a massive source of revenue. Disney CEO Bob Iger has called it inevitability, but the timing is everything. Will they find a strategic partner, maybe a tech company, to help them make the leap? Or will they spin off ESPN entirely? The future of the most iconic brand in sports media hangs in the balance, and their decision will affect how millions of us get our sports news and highlights every single day. All right, let's move on to our third major question. Will the regional sports network model, or RSN, survive? For decades, if you wanted to watch your local NBA, MLB, or NHL team, you tuned into your local RSN, like a Bally Sports or an NBC Sports regional channel. But that model is crumbling. Bally Sports' parent company declared bankruptcy, leaving the rights for dozens of teams in limbo. This has created chaos, but also opportunity. We're seeing teams take matters into their own hands. The Phoenix Suns and the Utah Jazz, for example, have started offering their games on free, over-the-air local TV, supplemented with a direct-to-consumer streaming option. This is a massive win for fans, making games more accessible than ever. But is it a sustainable business model long-term? The big media companies are also looking to swoop in. Warner Bros. Discovery, for instance, has hinted at adding more live sports to its Max streaming service. The RSN collapse is forcing a complete rethink of how local sports are delivered. And by 2025, the way you watch your hometown team could look completely different. Now, let's turn our attention to the streaming wars. Who is actually going to make money from live sports? For years, streamers have been spending billions to acquire sports rights, seeing it as the ultimate weapon to attract and retain subscribers. Netflix, Amazon, Apple, YouTube, Paramount+, Peacock, everyone wants a piece of the action. But here's the reality check. Profitability is proving to be a huge challenge. Companies are losing billions of dollars. Warner Bros. Discovery's CEO has been very vocal about the need for sports streaming to be profitable. We're starting to see a shift in strategy. Instead of just throwing money at rights, companies are getting smarter. They're looking for partnerships, like the joint venture between Disney, Fox, and WBD, to create a new sports-centric streaming service. They're also getting more selective about which rights they pursue. The era of growth at all costs is over. In 2025, the streamers who succeed will be the ones who can figure out how to turn those passionate fans into a profitable business, not just a line item in a subscriber report. It's a high-stakes game, and not everyone is going to come out a winner. Finally, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, or PIF. Their impact on the world of golf with the creation of LIV Golf has been seismic, completely disrupting the PGA Tour. But their ambitions don't stop there. The PIF has its sights set on other major sports, with rumors swirling around tennis, combat sports, and even Formula One. The fund have practically unlimited financial resources, and they're using sports as a key part of their Vision 2030 plan to diversify their economy and enhance their global image. This is often referred to as sports washing, using the glamour of sports to distract from other issues. Will we see a live-style disruption in other sports? Could they make a play for a major media company or a sports league itself? Their potential merger with the PGA Tour is still up in the air, and its outcome will be a major indicator of what's to come. The influence of state-owned money, particularly from the Middle East, is a powerful and controversial force that is reshaping the global sports landscape. By 2025, the PIF's next move could be the biggest story of all. So there you have it. The battle for the NBA, the fate of ESPN, the collapse of regional sports networks, the streaming profitability puzzle, and the ever-expanding influence of Saudi Arabia. These 5 questions are set to completely redefine the world of sports media by 2025. We're talking about more choices, different ways to watch, and new power players entering the game. It's going to be a fascinating, and maybe a little chaotic, ride for us as fans. Kylian Mbappé isn't just a footballer. He's a global phenomenon, a man who turned raw speed and cold ambition into a billion-euro brand. Every era has its icon. Pelé had the world at his feet. Ronaldo made football a fashion empire. Messi turned genius into devotion. But Mbappé? He's rewriting the rulebook, on the field, in business, and in culture. This is the story of how a kid from Bondy became the face of modern football and built a billion-euro empire before turning 25. Bondy, a small suburb north of Paris. A place where dreams often stay small unless your name is Kylian Mbappé. His father, a youth coach. His mother, a handball player. Sports wasn't just a hobby, it was the family language. From the age of 6, Mbappé wasn't just faster than kids his age. He thought the game differently. Scanning, anticipating, controlling chaos like he was watching from above. By 13, clubs across Europe were calling. Real Madrid invited him to train at Valdebebas. Zidane greeted him personally. But Mbappé stayed in France, not out of fear, out of calculation. He wasn't chasing fame, he was building timing. And timing would become the foundation of his empire. At Monaco, the world finally saw what France already knew. Mbappé wasn't a talent, he was a weapon. At 18, he led Monaco to the Champions League semifinals. Defenders twice his age couldn't read him. That season, PSG came knocking with €180 million on the table. The second most expensive transfer in history for a teenager. In one move, Mbappé became a superstar and a business. This wasn't just about goals. It was about leverage, control, and image. He understood early. In modern football, the brand matters as much as the boots. Mbappé was 19, too young to feel pressure, too good to show fear. He tore through Argentina, scored in the final, and lifted the World Cup, becoming the youngest since Pelé to do it. In that moment, the world saw the birth of something rare. A player who could dominate football's biggest stage and dominate global attention. Nike doubled down. Sponsorships exploded. Time magazine put him on the cover. But more than that, Mbappé represented something new. A player from the banlieues of Paris, with African roots, leading France to glory. He became more than a footballer. He became identity, pride, proof that power can rise from anywhere. Then came the turning point. In 2022, Real Madrid wanted him. The football world expected it. Every headline screamed, Mbappé to Madrid. But then, he said no. He stayed in Paris. And not just as a player, but as the project. PSG offered him a deal unlike anything seen before. Over €300 million in total value. Plus control over image rights, influence in sporting decisions, and personal branding privileges usually reserved for owners, not athletes. He didn't just sign a contract, he signed a declaration of power. It was Mbappé saying, I'm not just playing the game, I'm running it. By now, Mbappé had transcended sport. He built inspired by KM, his own foundation helping kids chase dreams beyond football. He became the face of Dior, Hublot, EA Sports, and Nike, not just endorsements, but partnerships built around his image of youth, speed, and authenticity. Unlike others who sought luxury, Mbappé positioned himself as purposeful success. Everything from his clean image to his social messages reinforced one thing: discipline is the new cool. He wasn't selling hype, he was selling aspiration, and that made his brand unstoppable. Now, Mbappé stands at a crossroads few athletes ever reach. He's 26, a World Cup champion, a marketing empire, and still, somehow hungry. He's not chasing records, he's building relevance. Every goal, every campaign, every interview is part of a long game, the transformation from player to icon. A billion-euro brand, built on ambition, control, and clarity. And if there's one thing Mbappé's story proves, it's that the future of football isn't just played on the pitch. Because for Kylian Mbappé, football isn't a dream anymore. It's the platform, and the brand, that's the real game. What's up, NFL fans, and welcome back to the channel. If you thought the offseason was going to be quiet, you were dead wrong. The Dallas Cowboys just dropped an absolute bombshell, and it's all about their star quarterback, Dak Prescott. They've just locked him in with a massive 4-year, $240 million contract extension. Yes, you heard that right, $240. This isn't just a big deal, it's a history-making deal that completely resets the quarterback market. Let's break down these insane numbers because they are truly mind-boggling. First off, Dak's new deal gives him an average annual salary of $60 million. That's $60 million a year, making him the highest-paid player in NFL history on a per-year basis. The financial floodgates have officially been blown wide open, and you can bet other quarterbacks and their agents are taking very close notes. This sets a brand new benchmark for what an elite QB is worth in this league. But wait, it gets even crazier. The contract includes a staggering $231 million in guaranteed money. This is the most guaranteed money ever given to a player in the history of the sport. It's a testament to the Cowboys' absolute faith in Dak as the face of their franchise for the foreseeable future. This level of security is almost unheard of and shows that Jerry Jones is all in on number 4. He's not just betting on Dak's arm, he's betting on his leadership and his ability to bring a championship back to Dallas. And to top it all off, Dak is walking away with an $80 million signing bonus. $80 million! That's the largest signing bonus in NFL history. It's an incredible amount of cash up front. This move screams confidence from the Cowboys front office. They're basically saying, here's the bank, Dak. Now go win us a Super Bowl. This contract isn't just a reward for his past performance. It's a massive investment in the future of America's team. So, what does this mean for the Cowboys and the rest of the league? For Dallas, it means they have their franchise quarterback secured through his prime years. No more contract drama, no more franchise tags. It's all about focusing on football and building a championship roster around him. For the rest of the NFL, this deal will have a ripple effect. Guys like Jordan Love, Tua Tagovailoa, and Trevor Lawrence, who are all due for extensions soon, just saw their price tags skyrocket. The $60 million a year quarterback is now a reality. What do you guys think? Is Dak worth this record-breaking contract? Can he finally lead the Cowboys to the promised land? He is one of the best strikers to ever play the most loved sport worldwide. Luis Suarez, the Uruguayan soccer player, has played for several of the world's best football clubs, such as Liverpool FC and FC Barcelona. But now the veteran striker is making waves in the United States with Inter Miami. Suarez is 37 years old, which might mean he is entering the end stage of his long career. However, his pay and net worth show just how much he is still valued in the world's favorite game. A career worth millions, Luis Suarez, according to Celebrity Net Worth, has earned around $70 million throughout his career. The amount includes not just the massive deals he signed during his European journey, but also a lengthy list of endorsements and sponsorships. Suarez has worked as a brand ambassador for global brands such as Adidas, Puma, Pepsi, and Beats during his career, all of which made him one of the best-paid football stars. It is important to note that while Suarez's base salary at Inter Miami is around $1.5 million, his total compensation could be higher when factoring in bonuses, appearance fees, and other incentives. It is also worth noting that the salary figures mentioned in this video are based on publicly available information and may not represent the full extent of Suarez's earnings or the financial terms of his contract. Seattle dominance over Miami CF in the 2025 season. Despite his incredible career, Seattle seems to have Suarez's number. In their last encounter on August, the Sounders secured a 2-1 victory over Inter Miami at Lumen Field. The goals for Seattle were scored by Nico Lodero in the 19th minute and Jordan Morris in the 62nd minute. On the other hand, Miami's only goal came from none other than Luis Suarez in the 82nd minute. Interestingly, this match marked the return of Seattle's Albert Rusnak to his former club. Rusnak, who left Miami in July 2023 to join Seattle, was warmly welcomed back by the Inter Miami fans. What about his net worth? While his weekly wages might seem like a drop from his European heyday, the Uruguayan superstar's net worth remains substantial, reflecting a lucrative career. Spotrac, an expert in sports salaries, estimates that Suarez boasts a net worth of $70 million. This figure is not just a testament to his successful career, but also to savvy financial management. One of the reasons behind Suarez's impressive net worth is his wise investments both during his playing days in Europe and now in the MLS. He has reportedly invested in various businesses and properties, ensuring that his wealth continues to grow even off the field. Suarez's net worth places him among the top-earning athletes globally, underlining his status as a football legend. Despite his impressive net worth, Suarez remains grounded and focused on contributing to Inter Miami's success. He continues to train hard and lead the team both on and off the field, demonstrating the values that have made him a fan favorite. So there you have it, folks. From his base salary at Inter Miami to his estimated net worth, we've covered all the financial aspects of this legendary footballer. While his weekly wage might not be what it once was, his net worth remains a testament to his incredible career. And as long as he keeps performing at a high level, both numbers will continue to impress. A 26-year-old superstar just signed the largest contract in baseball history. 15 years, $765 million. No deferrals, no gimmicks. Pure cash. Juan Soto is leaving the Yankees for the Mets. And this deal doesn't just rewrite MLB contracts. It redefines what power means in sports finance. Why would the Mets risk nearly $1 billion on one player? And what does Soto know that the rest of baseball doesn't? Let's break down how this move could make or break the future of Major League Baseball. Juan Soto entered the league at 19. Fearless at the plate, smooth swing, unmatched discipline. In 2019, he helped the Washington Nationals win it all and became a legend overnight. By 25, he'd already been traded twice. From the Nationals to the Padres, then to the Yankees. Every stop, the same story. Elite numbers, MVP energy, historic consistency. In 2024 with the Yankees, Soto hit 288 with 41 homers and 109 RBIs. He was the kind of player you build an empire around. But then came the twist. The Mets stepped in and dropped $765 million on the table. 15 years, full no-trade clause, $75 million up front, and an opt-out after 5. That's not a contract. That's a declaration of war. Steve Cohen isn't your typical MLB owner. He's a billionaire hedge fund titan, someone who sees baseball as an investment vehicle, not just a sport. And this is his power move. By signing Soto, Cohen sends a message. We're done playing second to the Yankees. It's more than a roster upgrade. It's brand warfare. It's market capture. The Mets are betting that one generational talent can elevate everything. Ticket sales, merch, viewership, partnerships. They're not just buying a player, they're buying attention. But massive contracts come with massive risk. 15 years means committing to a version of Soto that may not exist in 2035. Baseball's a long grind, decline is inevitable. Yet Cohen believes Soto's prime will last long enough to pay off that gamble in full. And here's the twist most people miss. If Soto opts out after 5 years, the Mets can re-sign him again, locking in a megastar for his entire career, while spreading the financial impact across 2 deals. It's high-stakes finance disguised as sports passion. Let's talk numbers. Shohei Ohtani set the record with $700 million, but much of it was deferred. Soto's $765 million? Every penny counts now. That's why it's the real biggest deal in sports history. The average annual value? $51 million. That's more than the entire payrolls of some MLB teams. But this deal isn't about averages, it's about leverage. Soto's youth, marketability, and elite performance made him untouchable. Cohen knew, if he didn't move now, someone else would. From a financial standpoint, Soto becomes an appreciating asset. Sponsorships, ticket revenue, local TV rights, they all spike when you anchor your brand to a global superstar. In essence, Cohen just bought a content engine for the next decade. The math checks out if Soto keeps delivering. This move isn't just about money, it's about pride. Soto walking away from the Yankees to join the Mets? That's the kind of betrayal that fuels rivalries for generations. For Mets fans, it's a dream. For Yankees fans, it's a nightmare. For baseball, it's box office gold. The storyline writes itself: two franchises, one city, and a superstar who chose one shade of blue over another. But the question remains, can one player justify a $765 million bet? Can one swing bring a championship to Queens? Because if Soto doesn't win, this deal transforms from a visionary to a vanity project. Every era in baseball has a defining contract, a moment that shifts what's possible, what's acceptable, and what's insane. This is that moment. The Mets went all in on talent, on future, on belief. And now, the sport watches to see, will Juan Soto become the cornerstone of a dynasty or the face of baseball's biggest gamble? Tell me in the comments, was this genius or financial madness?
The Los Angeles Lakers may not be able to offer Luka Doncic a championship contender right now, but they are offering him something their rivals can't. Sunshine, a beautiful coastline, and a whopping $25 million mansion. According to a report from Dirt.com, Doncic bought the former home of tennis star Maria Sharapova in the exclusive beach community of Manhattan Beach for $25 million. The deal officially closed on September, and the 90,600 square foot home at 2420. The Strand is just a stone's throw away from the beach, literally just across the street. So if the new Laker wants to go enjoy a nice swim, or maybe take up surfing, he won't have to travel far. The house itself is pretty spectacular. In addition to the typical luxury features one would expect from a $25 million property, it also has a really cool 2-lane bowling alley in the basement. It was built in 2009 and was completely renovated in 2018. The 6-bedroom, 8-bathroom mansion was listed by Hilton and Highland in June of last year for $29 million, and apparently Doncic jumped at the opportunity to make it his new home. This is a pretty safe assumption, because not only did he just buy an expensive house in a ridiculously expensive area, but there were other offers on the table, so he could have easily walked away from the deal. But it seems like he really wanted this house, and if you're wondering why this particular house, well, we don't know exactly why. But we do know that Doncic is really close with Lakers superstar LeBron James. And if LeBron is looking for a housewarming gift idea, he could do a lot worse than to grab his buddy a bowling alley. Back in July, when the trade for Doncic was first announced, the 24-year-old Slovenian guard said that he was excited to join the Lakers and called LA his second home. "I want to thank the incredible fans for the warm welcome," Doncic said. "It means a lot to me. I've spent many wonderful years in Los Angeles and consider it my second home. I love the city, the people, and the energy. I'm very excited to be part of the Lakers." Doncic clearly feels comfortable in Los Angeles because he went ahead and bought a house here last March for $15 million. At the time, he was still playing for the Mavericks, and people assumed that he would make that his primary residence. But that deal fell through for whatever reason, and instead, he's going all in on the LA property. If you're wondering what the Mavs got in return for making the biggest trade in franchise history, the answer is none of the players involved in the deal are expected to stick around in Dallas long-term. The Mavericks received a package that included 3 unprotected first-round draft picks and 1 pick swap from the Lakers. But they also received center Jackson Hayes and forward center Norvel Pelle from the Nets. Hayes is the only player from that group who could potentially be part of the Mavericks' future plans. As for Doncic, he's already made it clear that he's not trying to leave LA anytime soon. If this house is any indication, he's locked in with the Lakers for the foreseeable future. Now, this is probably good news for the Lakers front office. D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James are all set to become free agents in 2024. And if the team is in a position to contend next season, they could convince all 3 to stay. If not, they might have to say goodbye to all three of them. But even if the Lakers aren't ready to compete for a title just yet, at least they have the consolation prize of knowing that Doncic is sticking around. Last week, the NBA superstar who Stephen A. Smith called the worst superstar in the history of any sport was reportedly paid $28 million to not show up to work. Yes, you heard that right. Legend Kawhi Leonard reportedly earned $28 million for not working. But what exactly is going on here? Why did the Clippers pay $28 million to keep Leonard away from the team? How is that even possible? Let's find out. Kawhi Leonard has signed a 2-year contract extension with the LA Clippers worth $49 million. The deal includes a player option for the second year. Now, you may be wondering, why am I telling you about the new contract when the question is about the $28 million no-show deal? Well, the $28 million is part of the new contract. It is the signing bonus for the first year. So basically, Leonard got $28 million for signing the contract and agreeing to play for the Clippers next season. But the catch here is that he is not obligated to actually show up and play for the Clippers. According to reports, the contract includes a clause that allows Leonard to essentially call in sick for an entire season without any repercussions. He won't be fined for missing games, he won't be suspended by the team, and he will still get paid his full salary. Now, you might be thinking this is crazy. Why would any team agree to such a deal? And you're right, no team in any sport has ever agreed to such a deal before. But apparently, the LA Clippers were desperate to keep Leonard on the team, so they agreed to his outrageous demands. But why does Leonard want to be paid $28 million to not show up? Well, according to reports, he is still recovering from the ACL injury he suffered last year, and he is not ready to play yet. However, the Clippers believe that Leonard is faking his injury and that he just wants to avoid playing for them. That's why they included a clause in the contract that forces him to either show up and play or forfeit his entire salary. So what do you think? Is Leonard really injured, or is he faking it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe for updates on all things basketball. The question is, does this $28 million no-show deal set a bad example for other players? And you're right, it does set a bad example for other players. When other players see that Leonard can get paid $28 million to not show up, they might start demanding similar deals. It undermines the hard work and dedication that other players put into their craft. It also sends a message that it's okay to shirk your responsibilities and that teams are willing to pay big bucks for it. That's why the NBA is investigating the deal to make sure it doesn't set a bad precedent for future negotiations. But the question is, what do you think about Kawhi Leonard getting paid $28 million to not show up? Is it fair? Is it justified? Or is it just outrageous? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates on all things basketball. In conclusion, the $28 million no-show deal offered to Kawhi Leonard by the LA Clippers raises significant concerns about player conduct and contract negotiations in the NBA. While Leonard's injury is a legitimate concern, the deal sets a troubling precedent for the league and could potentially disrupt the balance of power among teams. If the allegations are true, the NBA must take swift and decisive action to ensure that such behavior is not condoned and that all players are held to the highest standards of professionalism and sportsmanship. The league's reputation and the integrity of the game itself depend on it. What do you think? Should Leonard be suspended or fined? Is the deal a violation of the league's collective bargaining agreement?
When you think of the biggest names in football, who comes to mind? Messi, Ronaldo, and of course, the Brazilian superstar Neymar Jr. While his skills on the pitch are legendary, what's happening off the pitch is just as groundbreaking. Today, we're diving deep into the massive, record-shattering endorsement deals that make Neymar one of the wealthiest athletes on the planet. This isn't just about money. It's about a strategic shift that changed the sports marketing game forever. Let's start with the big one. For years, Neymar was a flagship athlete for Nike. Standing alongside giants like Cristiano Ronaldo, it seemed like a match made in heaven. But in 2020, the football world was stunned when Neymar announced he was leaving Nike. Where did he go? He signed with Puma, and the details of this deal are absolutely mind-blowing. Sources report that Neymar's contract with Puma is worth a staggering £23 million per year. To put that in perspective, that's over $30 million annually. This deal didn't just make headlines, it shattered records. It became the largest individual sponsorship contract in sports history at the time. Think about that for a second. This single deal reportedly surpassed Cristiano Ronaldo's £15 million a year contract with Nike, and even Lionel Messi's £18 million a year partnership with Adidas. Neymar didn't just join a new brand. He became the highest paid sponsored athlete in the game. So, why Puma? Why would Neymar leave the colossal empire of Nike for a brand that, while historic, was seen as a competitor trying to catch up? For Neymar, it was about more than just the money. It was about legacy. When he announced the partnership, Neymar spoke about his admiration for Puma's history. He talked about legends like Pelé and Maradona, both of whom famously wore Puma boots. Neymar said he wanted to bring back the legacy that those athletes created. He didn't just want to be another star in a galaxy of athletes. He wanted to be the sun, the central figure in Puma's football universe, reviving its glorious past for a new generation. This move was a stroke of genius for both Neymar and Puma. For Puma, they instantly signed one of the most marketable and recognized faces in the world. For Neymar, he wasn't just an endorser anymore. He was a partner, the face of a brand's entire football division. This wasn't just about selling boots. It was about building a shared legacy. But the Puma deal is just one piece of Neymar's financial empire. What makes him such a powerhouse is his incredible control over his own brand. It's reported that Neymar owns 90% of his own image rights. This is a crucial detail that many people overlook. What does it mean? It means that for most of his off-field endorsements and brand partnerships, the vast majority of the profits go directly into his pocket. This is a level of control that few athletes ever achieve. While clubs often take a significant cut of a player's image rights, Neymar has structured his career to maximize his personal earnings. This ensures a massive, steady stream of income that will continue long after he hangs up his boots. And his partnerships extend far beyond the world of football apparel. Neymar has been incredibly smart about aligning himself with brands that connect with younger demographics. Take his long-standing partnership with Red Bull. This isn't just about slapping a logo on a hat. Red Bull is all about high energy, extreme sports, and a cool, rebellious image. It's a perfect fit for Neymar's dynamic and flashy style of play. This collaboration allows him to tap into a market that goes beyond traditional football fans, reaching a global youth culture. Then, there's the digital frontier. Neymar has also partnered with Epic Games, the creators of the global phenomenon, Fortnite. This was a masterclass in modern marketing. By having his own skin and playable character in Fortnite, Neymar embedded himself directly into the world of gaming, a multi-billion-dollar industry with a massive, engaged audience. Kids and young adults who might not even watch a full 90-minute football match know who Neymar is because they can play as him in their favorite game. This move transcends sport and enters the realm of pop culture entertainment. It keeps his brand relevant and exciting for a generation that lives online. Let's not forget his roots. Neymar's influence in his home country of Brazil is immense. In Brazil, football is more than a sport. It's a religion. As the nation's biggest star, he has a massive, dedicated following that translates into incredible regional influence. Brands wanting to capture the lucrative Brazilian and South American markets see Neymar as the ultimate gateway. His endorsements there carry a weight that few international celebrities can match. This regional dominance provides a stable and powerful foundation for his global brand. So, when you add it all up, the record-breaking Puma deal, the genius control of his image rights, and the strategic partnerships with brands like Red Bull and Epic Games, you begin to see the full picture. Neymar is not just a footballer. He's the CEO of Neymar Incorporated. He's built a diversified and incredibly profitable business around his name and talent. His net worth is estimated to be around $280 million. And with these lifetime and long-term deals in place, that number is only set to grow. He's created a financial fortress that will support him, his family, and his ventures for decades to come. Even beyond his active playing career, his brand equity, fueled by these powerful partnerships, will ensure he remains a significant figure in both the sports and business worlds. Neymar's career serves as a blueprint for the modern athlete. It shows that the real money and long-term security aren't just in the salary from a club, but in building a powerful personal brand and making smart, strategic business decisions off the field. He took a risk by leaving Nike, but it was a calculated risk that paid off spectacularly, cementing his status not just as a football legend, but as a marketing icon. What do you think of Neymar's business strategy? Ever wonder which athletes are cashing in the biggest endorsement deals right now? In 2025, Some sports stars are scoring lifetime contracts worth over $1 billion. Stay tuned as we reveal the top 10 athlete endorsement deals breaking records and shaping the future of sports marketing, and proving that star athletes aren't just icons on the pitch court or track, but titans in the global marketplace. Why do these deals matter? Because in 2025, endorsement contracts can eclipse player salaries, build multi-generational wealth, and shape pop culture from sneaker drops to digital campaigns. Let's see who's rewriting the rulebook this year. Number 10. Tiger Woods and Nike. $105 million. 5-year contract. Nike continues to put big bets on legends. Tiger Woods' renewed 5-year $105 million deal is a global marketing machine. Even after years of ups and downs, Tiger's brand still moves the needle, from apparel to media exposure. Nike is leveraging the loyalty and legacy factor, betting on Tiger's ongoing cultural pull in sport and lifestyle. Number 9. David Beckham and Adidas. $160 million plus lifetime deal. David Beckham's timeless appeal scores Adidas a lifetime ambassador whose influence spans generations and continents. This multi-million-dollar deal cements Beckham as a brand in his own right, fueling Adidas' aspiration for global domination in soccer and streetwear. Number 8. Rory McIlroy and Nike. $250 million multi-year package. Golf is booming, and Rory McIlroy's $250 million deal rides the wave of golf's commercial resurgence. Nike uses McIlroy's competitive spirit and social image to drive modern golf apparel. Number 7. Derrick Rose and Adidas. $260 million divided by 10-year deal. Despite injuries, Derrick Rose's Adidas contract, one of the biggest ever for an NBA guard, shows the power of narrative and comeback stories in endorsements. It's about resilience, hope, and selling more than just sneakers. Number 6. Kevin Durant and Nike. $300 million plus lifetime deal. On and off court. AD's signature line and Nike's lifetime deal valued at over $300 million. Mean more collaborations and more style crossover. Nike locked in a modern icon whose impact reaches well beyond basketball arenas. Number 5. Roger Federer and Uniqlo. $300 million divided by 10-year contract. Roger Federer's $300 million Uniqlo deal set a new precedent. It wasn't just about sports performance, it was elevating tennis into the luxury lifestyle realm, connecting Asian and global markets. Number 4. Lionel Messi and Adidas. $1 billion plus lifetime divided by career deal. Messi's career-long association with Adidas is now valued over $1 billion, demonstrating that beyond jersey numbers, true legends shape the brand itself. It's a partnership of performance and global identity. Number 3. LeBron James and Nike. $1 billion lifetime deal. LeBron James's decade-spanning partnership hit the $1 billion mark, becoming a template for all athlete-brand relationships. His shoes aren't just a product. They're a movement, and Nike cements its position at the top through this ongoing story. Number 2. Cristiano Ronaldo and Nike. $1 billion lifetime deal. CR7's Nike deal is as legendary as his goals. Estimated at $1 billion, this lifetime pact drives the mercurial brand in global campaigns, making Ronaldo not just the face of Nike football, but an ambassador to fans everywhere. The deal leverages Ronaldo's unmatched social reach and pop culture visibility. Number 1. Michael Jordan and Nike. To $1.3 billion lifetime contract. Still untouchable, Michael Jordan's legendary Nike partnership tops the charts, near $1.3 billion to date. And still growing, he turned a basketball deal into a cultural empire, spawning an entire sub-brand and sneaker economy. No other athlete endorsement has impacted both sports and fashion so deeply. In summary, these top athlete endorsement deals in 2025 eclipse most sports contracts. Why? Because athletes are more than competitors, they're global influencers and lifestyle icons. Notice how Nike dominates the list, but look at Uniqlo's strategic play with Federer and Adidas' enduring presence with Beckham and Messi. Who do you think will sign the biggest deal next year? Will rising superstars break into this billion-dollar club?
Imagine this, Manchester City, the reigning giants of English football, are preparing a move that could shake the entire summer transfer window. Reports say they're ready to meet Real Madrid's €100 million demand for Rodrigo Goes. That's right, €100 million. A player once seen as Madrid's future might now be heading to Pep Guardiola's Etihad project. So how did we get here? Let's break it down. According to multiple top sources, City are preparing a package worth 80 million euros guaranteed, plus another 20 million euros in performance-based add-ons. Put together, it matches Real Madrid's widely reported asking price. It's the kind of money only a handful of clubs can drop without blinking, and City are one of them, but timing is everything. Why now? Because Pep's attack is suddenly full of gaps. Savinho looks set to join Tottenham. Jack Grealish has been linked with an exit. James McAtee, another option in the front line, is close to leaving as well. In the space of one summer, City's depth on the wings is shrinking fast. And that urgency makes Rodrigo more than just a luxury, he could be a necessity. Now let's flip over to Madrid. Rodrigo isn't just any player. Remember his Champions League heroics? Those clutch goals, those lightning runs, the energy he brought when it mattered most. But under new manager Xabi Alonso, his role is changing. With Kylian Mbappe arriving to dominate the attack, plus Vinicius Jr. cemented on the left, Rodrigo's minutes are evaporating. Add the rise of youngsters like Franco Mastantuono, and suddenly Rodrigo finds himself in the shadows. That's the kind of environment where transfers are born. And here's the part that makes this saga fascinating. Pep Guardiola has admired Rodrigo for years. He sees him as the kind of winger who fits perfectly into City's system. Quick feet, one-on-one brilliance, the ability to drift inside or hug the line. In a Pep structure, Rodrigo isn't just another attacker, he's a weapon. But this move isn't only about football tactics, it's also about money, leverage, and power. Real Madrid have made it clear. They value Rodrigo at 100 million euros. That's a statement fee. If City pay it, Madrid suddenly have the funds to make another blockbuster signing before the September deadline. Could that be a midfielder, a defensive reinforcement? Or maybe even another attacking spark? Either way, the cash injection could reshape Madrid's squad instantly. Now let's talk about the bigger picture. What happens if Rodrigo goes to City? For Pep, it means another versatile attacker who can rotate with Phil Foden, Jeremy Doku, and Erling Haaland. It means unpredictability, a fresh dimension to a team already overflowing with options. For Madrid, it means losing a player who still has huge upside, but gaining the financial muscle to plan for the future. And what about Rodrigo himself? This is the twist. Deep down, he may want to fight for his place at Madrid. After all, wearing that white shirt is still one of football's greatest honors. But every player wants minutes, and right now, his path to the starting 11 is closing fast. City can offer him that stage, the Premier League spotlight. The chance to play under Pep in one of the most dominant systems in football history. So, here's where we are. A 100 million euros bid is on the table. Manchester City are circling, Real Madrid are calculating, and Rodrigo is caught in the middle of one of the summer's biggest transfer storms, and that leaves us with one question. Should he stay at Madrid and fight? Or take the leap to City and become Pep's next star? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The Detroit Pistons were the surprise team of the 2020-25 NBA season after making the playoffs as the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They did this despite finishing with the worst record in the NBA the 2 seasons prior. The Pistons have now built a solid core combining their young players of Cade Cunningham, Ausar Thompson, and Jalen Duren with veterans such as Tobias Harris and to off-season additions of Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. With their core, the Pistons are expected to enter the 2025-26 season with high expectations, especially in a weakened Eastern Conference. And many believe that they could be a team that makes a big move this offseason to add another star to their roster. With all of this being said, let us dive into why the Pistons are predicted to land an $185 million just star in a blockbuster trade. After being the surprise team in the NBA last season after their historic turnaround, the Detroit Pistons are set to enter the 2025-26 season with high expectations, especially in a weakened Eastern Conference. Of course, the Pistons are coming off a season in which they made the playoffs as the 6th seed in the East after finishing with the NBA's worst record the prior 2 seasons. Detroit has built a solid core combining their young players of Cade Cunningham, Ausar Thompson. With their core, the Pistons are expected to challenge for a top seed in the East next season as they look for their young core to continue to develop to make them into a title contender once again. While the Pistons are expected to be a top team in the East next season, they could also look to make a major trade this offseason to pair another star alongside Cunningham to become an instant championship contender. Pistons predicted to acquire Lauri Markkanen from Jazz with this in mind. In the trade, the Pistons would send Harris, Ron Holland II, Marcus Sasa, and an unprotected first-round pick in 2026 and 2028 to the Jazz for Markkanen. While Detroit would be giving up some key players on their roster, especially a potential emerging star in Holland II, adding Markkanen to their roster may turn them into a title contender next season. Of course, Markkanen has been tearing it up overseas during Eurobasket this summer, and he has proven to be a star in the NBA over the past handful of seasons. The 28-year-old forward is a great scorer, rebounder, and defender who would fit well inside next to Duren and would also take the pressure off Cunningham offensively. Despite this, Markkanen has dealt with a ton of injuries over his career as he has played in more than 60 games just 3 times over his 8 seasons in the NBA, but there is no doubt that he would be a major addition to Detroit's roster, though it would cost the Pistons a large trade package to acquire him. Swartz on the trade, Markkanen is a big upgrade over the forwards Detroit currently has on its roster and gives the Pistons to all-star caliber players in their prime to build around alongside Cunningham. Troy Weaver has done a fantastic job building through the draft, but it's time for the Pistons to push for a championship, and pairing Markkanen and Cunningham gives them a legitimate shot at doing so. Harris has been a solid contributor during his 2 seasons in Detroit, but his $36 million salary for 2025 to 26 makes him a good trade piece to move on from if the return is a healthy, productive Markkanen. While this trade does help the Pistons land a star in Markkanen, it does come at a pretty high price as they would be trading away one of their young stars in Holland. Holland had a breakout year for the Pistons in 2024 to 25, averaging 16.8 points, 5.9 rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game, while shooting 45% from the field and 36% from deep. Holland has shown flashes of being a superstar in the making and could end up being a better player than Markkanen, but the risk with him is his health as he has struggled to stay on the court throughout his career. Holland has only played in 100 or more games once in his 3 seasons in the NBA and has missed significant time due to injury each of the last 2 seasons. If the Pistons are concerned about the health of Holland and want to go for a championship, trading him along with Harris for Markkanen could be a smart move. This trade package gives Utah a nice return, especially with the multiple first-round picks that they get from the Pistons, which will help them rebuild and get better over the next couple of seasons. Do you think the Pistons should make this trade? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like. You won't believe what Messi is getting paid in crypto. Let's start with a shocking fact. Neither Ronaldo or Messi have ever earned more than $100 million in a single year. Wait, so how did Messi make his fortune? Stick around to the end of this video, where we will share our exclusive analysis on what we think Messi's net worth will be at the end of his career. In today's video, we are going to break down how Messi built his $1 billion fortune. To date, Messi has earned approximately $750 million in salary alone. You can see that even though he was making more than $100 million per year at Barcelona, other players were catching up. Based on our analysis, we estimate that Messi will have a net worth of between $1 billion and $1.5 billion at the end of his career. Now that he's playing in the MLS, he's once again at the top of this list. And if you take a look at this chart, you can see that his yearly earnings have actually decreased since leaving Barcelona. With his latest NFT and crypto deals, Messi is positioning himself perfectly for the next phase of his career. If we take a look at the top-earning soccer players, you can see that all of them are over 35 years old. This means that Messi has a limited window to grow his brand and diversify his income. That's why we've seen him do a lot of business deals recently. In his final year at Barcelona, he made $138 million. At the time, people thought that it was crazy, but it looks like it was totally worth it. Messi has released several signature sneakers that have done very well. In addition, he also has an equity stake in the sports drink company Moss Plus. According to reports, he owns between 5 to 10% of the company, which could be worth as much as $500 million. Then he moved to PSG and got a massive pay raise, making $33 million in his first year there. However, after signing his new contract, his pay was reduced to just under $40 million per year. That is because the massive $300 million contract that he signed with the club had a lot of add-ons based on performance and team success, which he obviously hasn't met yet. But let's talk about Messi's big crypto partnerships. Let's go back to 2019 when he signed a lifetime deal with Adidas worth $1 billion. Now, looking ahead to retirement, Messi will most likely pursue opportunities in the United States. In fact, he already has experience working with American companies such as Pepsi and Burger King. We think that Messi will continue to grow his brand by investing in and partnering with different crypto companies. We think that he will leverage his large social media following to promote these companies and make a lot of money in the process. Take a look at this chart that shows Messi's yearly earnings compared to other soccer players. So the question we get asked the most is, how much will Messi be worth at the end of his career?
How Shaq became richer than most NBA players without playing. The business empire, that dwarfs basketball salaries. Shaquille O'Neal has built a $500 million business empire that generates more wealth than most NBA players earn in their entire careers. And he did it all after retiring from basketball. This isn't just a story about smart investments. It's a blueprint for how athletes can leverage their fame into generational wealth that far exceeds their playing contracts. The Jeff Bezos moment that changed everything. The turning point in Shaq's investment strategy came when he heard Jeff Bezos explain his approach to business. If I don't believe in it, I don't even look at it. This philosophy helped Shaq's net worth quadruple as he focused on investments that change people's lives rather than chasing quick returns or flashy opportunities. This strategic shift represents one of the most successful post-career transformations in sports history. While many retired athletes struggle to maintain their lifestyle, Shaq built an empire that generates more annual income than he ever earned as a player. The accidental fortune, when $250,000 became millions. One of Shaq's most legendary investment stories involves an accidental $250,000 investment that grew to approximately $16.5 million. This wasn't luck. It was the result of a systematic approach to identifying companies with long-term growth potential rather than short-term hype. The beauty of this investment lies in its simplicity. Shaq didn't need insider information or complex financial instruments. He identified a company he believed in, made a substantial but manageable investment, and held on through market volatility. This patience-based approach contrasts sharply with the get-rich-quick mentality that destroys many athlete fortunes. The diversification strategy that built an empire. Shaq's investment portfolio spans everything from car washes to high-end real estate, tech firms to restaurant franchises. This diversification isn't random. It's a carefully constructed ecosystem where each investment complements and strengthens the others. His approach focuses on businesses he can understand and actively influence. Rather than being a passive investor, Shaq leverages his celebrity status and business acumen to add value to every company in his portfolio. This hands-on approach not only increases returns but also provides valuable learning experiences that inform future investment decisions. The franchise empire beyond basketball courts. Shaq's franchise investments represent a masterclass in scalable business ownership. By investing in proven business models with established systems, he minimized risk while maximizing growth potential. His franchise portfolio includes restaurants, fitness centers, and retail operations that generate consistent cash flow regardless of market conditions. The genius of this strategy lies in its sustainability. While stock market investments can fluctuate wildly, well-managed franchises provide steady income streams that can weather economic downturns. This stability becomes crucial for retired athletes who need predictable income to maintain their lifestyle. Technology investments, betting on the future. Shaq's tech investments have been particularly lucrative, focusing on companies that solve real-world problems rather than following technology trends. This approach has allowed him to participate in the massive wealth creation of the technology sector while avoiding the boom and bust cycles that destroy less thoughtful investors. His technology portfolio demonstrates the importance of understanding your investments rather than simply following hot tips. By focusing on companies whose products and services he could evaluate and believe in, Shaq avoided the speculation that has cost many athletes their fortunes. Real estate, the foundation of lasting wealth. Shaq's real estate investments span from car washes to high-end properties, creating a diversified portfolio that provides both income and appreciation. Real estate has historically been one of the most reliable wealth-building vehicles for athletes, and Shaq's approach demonstrates why. His real estate strategy focuses on properties that generate immediate cash flow while appreciating in value over time. This dual benefit provides financial security in the short term while building long-term wealth that can be passed down to future generations. The income diversification that ensures stability. Beyond his $286.3 million NBA career earnings, Shaq's post-retirement income includes his TNT analyst salary, endorsement deals, and returns from his business investments. This diversified income approach ensures that no single source of revenue can threaten his financial stability. The key insight here is that Shaq didn't rely solely on investment returns or business income. By maintaining multiple revenue streams, including his media career, he created a financial foundation that could support his lifestyle, even if some investments underperformed. Lessons for current and future athletes. Most importantly, Shaq's story demonstrates that athletic success can be leveraged into business success, but only with the right strategy, discipline, and willingness to learn. His transformation from basketball superstar to business mogul provides a roadmap that any athlete can follow, regardless of their sport or income level.
The Boston Celtics just sold for a record $6.1 billion. Bill Chisholm now controls basketball's most decorated franchise. How did he outbid billionaires? And what does this mean for Boston's future? Tonight, the money, the motives, and the moves coming next. Stay to the end for the one twist Celtics fans won't see coming. The NBA's Board of Governors unanimously approved the sale of the Boston Celtics to an investor group led by private equity executive Bill Chisholm. Sale valuation, $6.1 billion, the highest ever for a U.S. pro sports team. Chisholm acquires at least 51% now, with full control slated by 2028. If remaining equity changes hands, the total value could hit $7.3 billion. This tops the $6.05 billion Washington Commanders deal and dwarfs the Suns for billion-dollar sale. The Celtics just reset the market. Chisholm, a Massachusetts native and managing partner at Symphony Technology Group, leads a group including Boston investors Rob Hale and Bruce Bell Jr. $6.1 billion valuation. Unanimous approval, 51% initial stake. $7.3 billion potential by 2028. Prior US record $6.05 billion, with Grausbeck led a group that bought the team for $360 million in 2002. Under that era, titles in 2008 and 2024, plus finals trips in 2010 and 2022, he is expected to step aside as governor when the sale closes, remain CEO, and alternate governor through 2028. 18 banners hang in the rafters, third most among North American teams, behind the Yankees and Canadians. That history, plus a rabid global fan base, helps justify premium pricing. Expect front office continuity short term. Big ownership shifts usually start with cap table cleanups, analytics hires, and long-term arena and media strategies. The NBA also requires a governor to hold at least 15%, so consolidation moves are likely as 2028 nears. For fans, the question is roster investment. A $6.1 billion price tag signals appetite for luxury tax spending if it compounds wins and enterprise value. Winning drives media, sponsorships, and international growth. $360 million 2000 to purchase. Titles in 2008, 2024. Finals in 2010, 2022. Governance shifts. 15% governor rule at $6.1 billion. The Celtics set a new ceiling. Media rights, global licensing, dynamic ticketing, and real estate adjacencies are the profit pillars. The Commanders' $6.05 billion mark the line. The Celtics crossing it shows the NBA's brand power, championships, stars, and year-round relevance. For valuations, watch next CBA cycle impacts on luxury tax and market streaming products, and the 2028 control handoff. If the 2024 title becomes a multi-banner run, the $7.3 billion full control number becomes more plausible. Here's the twist: Boston just paid dynasty pricing before proving a dynasty. If the banners stall, this could be the most expensive bet in NBA history. If they stack rings, $6.1 billion looks cheap. Celtics fans, is this smart money or a risky flex? Drop your take below. Chelsea just agreed a £40 million fee for Manchester United's Alejandro Garnacho. Another forward, another gamble. But here's the twist: this move says more about Chelsea's financial chess game than it does about football itself. Today we break down the real story behind the deal. Why Garnacho? Why now? And what it reveals about the way Chelsea are playing the transfer market like Wall Street traders. First, the basics. Garnacho, 21 years old, Argentina international. United told him to find a new club after clashing with Ruben Amorim. Chelsea's first offer, £25 million. United pushed back, citing £60 million. The compromise landed at £40 million, plus a 10% sell-on clause that makes Garnacho one of United's top for player sales ever, behind only Cristiano Ronaldo, Romelu Lukaku, and Angel Di Maria. Meanwhile, Chelsea add yet another winger too. A squad already stacked with attacking options, but here's what matters. This isn't just about football, it's about balance sheets. Chelsea have spent over £500 million on wingers in just 3 years since Todd Boehly and Clearlake took over. At strikers, and the number jumps beyond £650 million. Sounds reckless? Maybe not, because this summer, Chelsea have flipped the script, selling big to stay inside the Union of European Football Association's rules. Christopher Nkunku is heading to AC Milan for £32 million. Nicholas Jackson is talking with Bayern Munich. In total, Chelsea have already banked over £263 million in player sales, smashing the Premier League record for one window. And that's before you factor in Garnacho's arrival. Why does that matter? Because the Union of European Football Associations fined Chelsea €31 million last year and warned them, stay positive in your transfer balance, or forget about Champions League registration. This Garnacho deal only works because Chelsea are selling almost as fast as they're buying. So why Garnacho? On paper, it makes no sense. Chelsea already have Raheem Sterling, Mykhailo Mudryk, and Cole Palmer, all natural wide forwards. Nkunku's Exit and Jackson's potential loan create gaps, but not out wide. Here's the theory. Garnacho isn't just a winger, he's a financial asset. A 21-year-old with resale value, trained at United's academy, with international pedigree. He ticks every box Chelsea need under the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. His fee counts as pure balance sheet ammunition for United. Will Chelsea get a player who could explode in value with one breakout season? And here's the twist. This isn't about Chelsea meeting another forward. It's about Chelsea weaponizing transfers. Garnacho is as much a financial instrument as he is a footballer. To some, it's genius. To others, it's madness. Another sign Chelsea are treating the game like a hedge fund. But whether it works or backfires, one thing's clear. The Blues have turned Garnacho into their latest roll of the dice. What do you think? Smart strategy or reckless spending? Drop your... Liverpool may have fallen out of the Champions League places, but that doesn't mean they won't be challenging for trophies next season. With all of the comings and goings in the transfer window, teams are going to be looking very different this season. Some teams could surprise us all, though. So let's look at a few teams that might over or underachieve this season. Everton could be on the up. Last season, they finished 17th on 40 points, but with a strong defense and a fancy new stadium, they could do better than expected. Wolverhampton are probably in trouble. They finished 13th last season on 46 points, but after losing key players and not replacing them, they could struggle this coming season. Brentford are an interesting case. They finished 9th last season on 54 points, but they lost key players, like Brian Mbeumo and Christian Norgard. However, they did bring in Jordan Henderson, which could help them to achieve more than expected. Tottenham are another team that could surprise us. They finished 8th last season on 54 points, but they appointed a new manager in Ange Postecoglou, and they've signed a bunch of new players. It is hard to predict how these new players will gel with the team and whether or not they lines be able to challenge for a top 4 finish. Newcastle United finished 4th last season on 64 points, but they had a fantastic season overall. They won the FA Cup and finished runners-up in the Premier League this season. However, they won't have European football, so they should be able to focus on domestic competitions. It remains to be seen whether they can continue their impressive form. Sunderland are a newly promoted team who finished 17th last season on 40 points. They were only 1 point above the drop zone. This season, they face a tough task to avoid relegation once again. However, they've made some smart signings like Ilias Chair and Abdullah Ba. Could these new faces help them to beat the drop? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Aston Villa were 7th last season with 65 points, but they lost their manager, Unai Emery, to Arsenal. They did, however, bring in new players like Moussa Diaby and Pau Torres. How will these new faces adapt to the team? Can they help Aston Villa to challenge for European football once again? Crystal Palace finished 12th last season on 46 points, but they were only 5 points above the drop zone. They also lost their manager, Roy Hodgson, to retirement. New manager Oliver Glasner has a tough task ahead of him. He wants to keep Crystal Palace in the top half of the table. Leeds United were 19th last season with 34 points, just 2 points above the drop zone. They were in the relegation zone for most of the season. This season, they face a tough task once again, but they've made some solid signings like Ethan Ampadu and Carl Darlow. Can these new faces help Leeds United to beat the drop once again? Fulham were 10th last season on 53 points. They had a decent season overall, but they lost their manager Marco Silva to Saudi Arabia. They did, however, bring in new players like Calvin Bassey and Harrison Reed. Can these new faces help Fulham to build on last season's performance? Manchester City are the defending champions, but they were 9th last season on 73 points. They had a fantastic season overall, winning the treble. But this season, they face a tough task once again. Can they defend their title? Liverpool were 5th last season on 68 points. They had a decent season overall, winning the FA Cup. But this season, they face a tough task once again. Can they challenge for the title once again? Arsenal were second last season on 80 for points. They had a fantastic season overall, but they didn't win any trophies. This season, they face a tough task once again. Can they challenge for the title once again? Chelsea were third last season on 82 points. They had a fantastic season overall, winning the Champions League, but this season, they face a tough task once again. Can they challenge for the title once again? What are your thoughts on the upcoming season? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out my others for all the latest news and opinion. Thanks for watching.